How are you?
Good.
Good. All right. What do we have? I can't see when the screen's sharing. Are we good to go?
Mhm.
Yeah. Great. First line. Okay, should we get right into it? I'm not sure it's just my schedule. It doesn't work for it.
Sorry. Doesn't work for all legislators' schedules.
It's not really compatible with the session schedule. But
Sorry.
Okay, great. So new proposed date, June 21st. Is that the Monday?
Mhm.
Okay.
That was just an idea. We can propose other dates too.
Does anyone on the call at the moment have any particular objections to Monday, June 21st?
Is this for the full Reading Consortium?
It would be our next full body meeting, yeah.
Will we know more after June 30th, or you want to make sure we meet before June 30th? In case we need to do something?
I mean, I think that's a fair question. I think we will know more by June 21st, honestly, in terms of you know, where things are with the budget. I think there will be a lot more information at that point, whether or not it's been, I mean, there's a fringy chance it could be passed at that point, although that would be pretty incredible. You know, but I think we could know enough to discuss that it might be worth meeting. I don't know, Matt, if you have an opinion on that. That there may be a need for us to coalesce around some things. Not that we can't do that outside of a full body meeting, mind you, but I think there could be some interesting updates. It will be an intense period of time, so we might want to keep the meeting tighter. Anyway, Matt, you unmuted.
Oh, it was a precautionary meeting in case you called on me.
I didn't. I mean, I don't know.
I think that if the concern is weighing in on stuff going on with the legislature, I think that would argue for an earlier meeting. I think by June 21st, you know, that things, you know, our ability to influence things, you know, through a full meeting of everyone would be limited.
To change anything at that point.
But I agree with you that you don't necessarily have to have a meeting of everybody to weigh in on stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not sure the full body meeting is the best venue to accomplish that if we need to do, I don't know if you all disagree, but so quite frankly,
sorry,
I'm fine. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do we hit our required number of meetings? Legislation, I don't know if it says number or just says we'll meet quarterly.
I think we have a minimum of 4 meetings per year. Isn't that right?
I think so.
I mean, I don't think that we necessarily need to cancel it. I think just in terms of its, you know, utility in terms of influencing, but I do think that there could be some interesting updates, whether or not that puts us in a position to do anything about it at that point. So I guess, I don't know, I'm sort of agnostic on it. Could it wait to July just so that the update is complete? You know,
Well,
maybe.
Well, thanks for the consideration. It sounds like that it would be better to have a condensed, abbreviated meeting on June 21st.
I mean, I personally think that would be fine. I mean, if we need to postpone it for some reason, I think that's not the end of the world, but I think continue with it. And I don't know that we should bump it up earlier, just because I think our full body meetings in virtual format have been pretty much updates as opposed to sort of groundswells of advocacy, if that is fair.
I think I agree with everything that the two of you just said. The only other thing to think about, just sort of looking down the road, is that, you know, we are not a group that is we're a group that by design sort of takes a while to reach decisions about things and make recommendations about things. And again, that's purposeful. But, you know, it's not early summer is not too early to be thinking about where we want to be going in terms of what we want to be prepared to make recommendations about at the end of the calendar year. So I don't know that it necessarily needs to be at this June meeting, but we probably should talk at some point about, you know, what are we hoping to have as
Right.
as a work product, you know, 6 months down the road.
I mean, I think that's exactly right. I think it's sort of it's a pivot point. I mean, how deep we get into that conversation, you know, we probably not much, but it's basically, all right, we're wrapping up this first cycle. You know, our interim recommendations are very focused on the budget. That's about a wrap. And then, you know, where are we going now from this point forward? How are we going to be focusing our work? I think it's a very natural moment to sort of mark that shift. Yeah. Oh, it says at least quarterly. Got it. Okay. Doesn't say 4. I should remember that. So I do think, just in terms of starting to think about what the agenda would look like, I think it should be reflective of that. We're coming to the end of this cycle of advocacy, this set of recommendations. We're going to have a good sense of where we are with them. And then I think we need to be setting ourselves up for, you know, what comes next. How are we moving forward?
And it doesn't have to be the full 2-hour meeting either, like you said.
Yeah.
In the chat that BSD has their school board meeting at 7 that night, but that's one district. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be done by 7 if we start at 5. And we can, yes. But, you know, we can dig more into what that means agenda wise, but I think Matt's exactly right. Okay, great. I'm not sure we've actually had any work group meetings that have occurred this week, have we? Oh, okay. Settlement did have work group meetings this week. Okay, Chuck, I saw you were on. I didn't see if Aaron was on. Can't see everybody.
Right, I don't think Aaron's on, didn't see him. So we had a meeting, we talked about the future, what's coming up, what do we expect to see in next year's governor's recommended budget. We did a little bit of monitoring of this year. Things look like they're pretty much on track, other than our I don't know what to call it, glitch or whatever with the RFP for the ombudsperson program and the what's it called, the equity statement, which we were, you know, I guess nobody can accuse the state of moving too slowly this year, because they got the jump on us on both of those things. So we discussed that again, and we did have Dr. Bunting was there too, and so she provided some feedback on those things. But for the most part, we talked about the next time, what we expect to see out of the settlement next year. And there's $4 million for teacher recruitment and retention we expect to see. So we talked about how within the scope of our subgroup and the consortium do we shape that, the opportunity fund and the funding study, which we think it needs to be in next year's budget if it's going to be completed by the date in the settlement. But you know, how should we shape that if that is something we want to do? So we had a lot of conversation about teacher recruitment and retention, and we do recognize there's another work group that is very focused on that. So we want to support their work. And we also have John Neubauer from DOE coming in next meeting to talk about you know, what they're doing. And so what are they going to do with this $4 million that we're going to get? Don't know. That's where we are. Next meeting, we're going to, is May 24th. We're going to talk more about the funding study, opportunity fund, and the teacher recruitment and retention items in the settlement.
Really appreciate the work you guys are doing. You've been so active and so on point. I wish I could make the meeting so I could see it in person, but
Thank you, Senator.
but that's excellent. Anybody have any questions or comments for Chuck and what the settlement committee is working on?
I'll just add that this is most likely our last meeting, and then we will plan over the summer and get a really good work plan going again.
Okay,
And
okay. To return to begin meeting again, say in like August or, okay,
like, yeah, middle August, somewhere in there, I think we said.
okay, okay. All right, good to know. Ray, I see, well, sorry if I'm missing any hands or anything. I don't think we have any questions for settlement. Okay, cool. Well, actually, I do have one question. It sounds like the secretary was there. I don't know if she'd been at prior meetings, but I know I think she's planning to be at all the meetings moving forward, which I think it sounds positive. So we can have a little bit more alignment of the pages that we're on. Great. Okay, so Ray, I didn't see if Jeff was on the line. Did you want to talk about what's coming up for social determinants? Looks like Monday. Hey, Ray. How are you?
Hi, is Jeff?
He is
on the line?
not. He is not.
So, we have, we're still building our knowledge, that's in alignment with the, interim recommendations. We have, and Dawn can speak to the early intervention and, other aspects of our early learning recommendations. There will be an update in a presentation, and then there will be a presentation around elementary, wellness centers. Where the status of the development by representatives from the Nemours.
Did you want me to share more?
Where's
Or-
yeah, briefly. Yes,
Sure.
thank you.
So the Associate Secretary from the Department of Education is going to come to talk about the plans for implementing the recommendations related to requiring developmental screening in all licensed childcares, as well as the move of Part C, which is birth to 3 early intervention. The lead agency is currently DHSS. So legislation will be filed by Senator Sturgeon very soon to move Part C over to DOE on July 1st, 2023. And Representative Williams is filing legislation to require developmental screening in all child cares. This would be done yearly, and that will be filed soon. And the implementation date is July 1st, 2023. So Yvette is coming, as well as the director of the Office of Child Care Licensing and the director of Office of Early Learning, to talk about the 24-month plan. So initially, our recommendation had been for this work to move through within a year. They were fiscal year 2022 recommendations. DOE asked that it be 2 years. And so with that, we asked that they lay out the timeline to help everyone understand why 24 months was more appropriate than 12 months. So that's what they will be explaining at a high level on Monday. Thank you for the opportunity to share that.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Both. Okay, and does anyone have any questions for the social determinants work group? Or comments? All right, Haley, you might be point for funding and governance. If
I
I'm
did have one thing to
reading,
share.
oh,
Is it-
sorry.
That's okay. I sent an email this morning. I don't know if I should. I sent an email to Matt, Tizzy, Ray, Jeff, Kelly, Jason, Haley about an opportunity, a funding opportunity. It's a short turnaround for a short grant that could fund some of the deep digs of data that we were seeking related to our early childhood work. So I asked that you just read that email and see if that's something that you'd be interested in pursuing. I'll support. I'll do as much as I can, but I'm not able to submit the grant because I don't work for UD or WilMU or Deltec or Delaware State.
I did not see that.
It just came this morning.
So Tizzy, forgive me.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at it.
Okay, great. So just let me read through that and this afternoon or just as soon as possible because of the quick turnaround. We have kids count staff who they would do most of the work. It's really, well, I can talk to you more about it, but please read through that and let me know.
Kelly, did you receive that?
I did. I'm talking with Aaron. And I talked to Aaron just about logistics and some of it later today.
Okay,
Wonderful.
Figure out
great.
how-
Keep me posted.
Will do.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so funding and governance. I don't see Eugene or Namdi on, I don't believe. So Haley, anything to report there? I know we had a little bit of a, because it was almost 2 weeks ago now, was it? When we sort of had our sort of fundamental planning conversation around that committee. Anything to update since then?
No, not really.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. I will circle back with you separately. So drafted support statement for settlement work group motion. I'm guessing that might be something in my email.
Yes.
Yes, from me, hey, Senator.
From you, Kelly.
Yep, I sent it to you, Matt, Chuck, and Aaron.
Okay, there it is. I see it. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna download that right now. So you need edits from us
Yes, please.
as
Mhm.
soon as possible.
Yes, please. And Chuck, when you get a chance, can you just double check that I referenced everything correctly, please? Thank you.
Great, thank you. It's really helpful when that's in the agenda. I appreciate that. Okay. So it looks like regarding the American Rescue Plan, which has come up a couple times in our planning meetings, it looks like the secretary will be joining us next Friday to talk about what the department's intent is with the use of those funds, the significant funds. And it would be great, I guess, for us to be prepared or to prepare her in advance with any specific questions that we might have. Not expecting people to be able to generate those right here on the spot, but maybe, Haley, maybe we can set sort of a deadline of mid next week so that if folks have specific questions around the rescue plan and those expenditures, that we could get them to her in advance so that she'd be more likely to be able to come to the planning meeting with responses as opposed to us having to kind of do the after the fact thing, which can sometimes just fall off everybody's radar, just the way it goes. So maybe we could send out an email. I think we could do it to the full membership, quite frankly. I don't know. Just sort of asking if folks have questions for the secretary and letting them know that she'll be joining us, because there might be other folks who don't normally join us on Friday mornings who might like to.
Okay, sure.
And then just give folks a deadline to send a question and maybe Wednesday or something.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
Anybody else have any questions or thoughts on that? Okay. Good. All right. Anything new that you guys would like to give us around public engagement?
Let's see. I do have some metrics for the April newsletter if people are interested in that.
Please.
Let me pull it up real quick. Hold on one second. Where is it? Somewhere on my desktop. Hold on, I'm going to stop sharing real quick. So for our April newsletter, we had an open rate of 45.2%, which is really good. We had a click rate of 10%, which is amazing. So we need to keep doing whatever we're doing with that. Some top links that were clicked were the Zoom link for the full consortium meeting. So that's helpful to know people,
Actually watch.
Yeah. the Reading Consortium interim recommendations people were interested in, the Ed Trust materials, subscription to our newsletter, which is great, and the meeting minutes. So it's good that people kind of use the newsletter as intended, as we wanted people to be a place where it's all together. So that's encouraging.
That's
Um,
great.
yeah, and the subscribe
Um,
the most opens was Larissa. So shout out to Larissa. Thanks.
Good job, all right. That's really good. No, that's good information to know. And I hope that it encourages us all to take the content that we're putting into the newsletter seriously, in terms of how we're messaging and even how we're setting ourselves up. You know, if we're talking about June as a sort of a pivot point, you know, here's what we've done and here's where we're going. Seems like the newsletter is a good way to convey that. What are we're sending these out bi-monthly, right?
We're doing one
Or
every
are we
month.
doing it each month? Every month. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's good. And are you starting to, what's the target date for content for the May one?
We usually try to do, let's see, for May, it'd probably be either the 3rd or 4th week in May. Sending that out. We usually, for the months that we have consortium meetings, we try to do it a week before that, or that week, like kind of align it with the meeting so people are thinking about us and then joining the meeting. But for May, which we don't have a meeting, yeah, so either the week of the 17th or the 24th, I think is the goal to get it out.
Okay, that sounds good.
Mhm. All right, I'll reshare. Doo-doo. The next thing on the public engagement agenda, this was just something to start, maybe we could start all talking about or thinking about, but since we know or hope to have a good inkling that some of our recommendations will make it in the budget, which is very exciting. I'm wondering the best way to sort of like advertise that, make sure like, you know, I think that's a pretty big accomplishment. So how do we just make sure, you know, people know? I was thinking Facebook posts, some sort of public statement. We could, the newsletter is an obvious one that I didn't include, but I was wondering if people had thoughts about that.
A lot
I
of
mean,
us have,
oh, sorry.
no, you go.
Yeah, I mean, I was not gonna say anything definitive. I was gonna say, I think it's good food for thought. I don't have any specific ideas yet, but I do think that we should shout our accomplishments from the rooftops, obviously, whatever we manage to pull off. We should really be blasting that and be very proud. So, whatever that, however we can get that in front of the most people, we should obviously do.
I recommend that we have, you know, one pager, and that can be distributed widely. So all of us have contacts, lots of different contacts. So being able to share that information through email, being able to post it on Facebook, Twitter, you know, other social media, and then asking the legislators who have been involved in the work to post that on their social media pages, through our school district. You know, a lot of us are involved, and so that way, personally, I feel like a one pager is impactful because it's one view. We're not asking people to read through a lot of information, and maybe links in that one pager, but something that can be posted and can be emailed.
We could use something like the one pager that we have already for that announced the interim recommendations, and maybe like an update or something.
Mhm. I think that's a really good idea.
Good. Okay. All right, I think we covered the agenda. Any questions on anything that we covered that anyone feels needs further comment or questioning? Okay, good. First week after a full body meeting is always pretty straightforward. Do we have, excuse me, I have the worst allergies this week ever. Do we have anyone who would like to offer a public comment today? Maybe we can turn off I can't see everyone. So if anyone's raising their hand, or you can always put something in the chat. We will give you 3 minutes to speak. Not seeing anyone. But Haley or Kelly, if you see anybody right now, okay, I think we're good. All right. Thank you everyone for spending a few minutes to cover this today, and with some good stuff coming up. And I will touch base, Kelly and Haley, with you all. I have the statement of support open on my computer right now, and we'll keep it moving. All right, everybody, have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully you're not too affected by pollen like myself. All right, see you later.
Bye, thanks.